Hello! What you're gonna see in the next 10 minutes is a coding session almost unedited of myself working on my static Astro blog. Both the blog link and the repository are here in the description, so enjoy this session. The plan is doing something similar to dev.to, where at the top of each article you can see, in case the article is part of a series, all the articles that are part of the same series. I want to do that at the bottom of the page, but the result will be pretty much the same. So that, for example, this is an article about Copilot X, and I want here at the bottom of the article, maybe between about the author and you might also like, a list of all other articles in the same series. So let's get started on VS Code. Index.astro will basically be the file where we're gonna add the HTML, because here we render the single post. We show that you might also like block, that is this one. And yeah, this is where I want my data to be. For example, where do I get similar post? Similar post comes from here, and getStaticPaths is the function that is called every time the build is performed, which basically generates the page. And that's where static site generation comes from. This was an introduction of what we're going to do. For example, here we find similar posts, and in this block.ts is where our logic will be. And I want to create a function which instead groups posts by series. But what is a series? Well, let's start simple and just add a series property here, which is an optional string. In order to make this work, I also need to do that on config.ts, because I've got Zod here validating the content. So let me add series as an optional string. Now my post might or might not have a series, so I can basically scroll through all of them every time in order to get all posts in the series. Or I can try to make it a little bit smarter. Where I want to use the function is here, when I will do something like const articles in series, and this comes from find articles in series. I might want to pass the post, and yeah, that should be fine. And this function will be imported from here, but it doesn't exist yet. So let's get here and I can implement it. So I will export this find article in series. Like I said, I will pass actually I call them sometimes articles, sometimes posts. Maybe I should just do find posts in series. Let me rename this. Find posts in series and find posts, and again here. Okay, much better. Now this will not be a sync. I will pass a post, and I will return an array of posts. Does it make sense? Yeah, it does. And yeah, this is basically all we need if I want to run through posts every time, but like I said, let's make it a little bit smarter. So post is actually generated only the first time, because every other time post is called, it will just take this local variable. And I might want to do something similar with my series. So let series will be not a string array, but a map with string and post, where the key is the series name and the post array is all posts inside this series. This now throws an error because series is declared but never used, which makes sense. And here, when we find posts in series, first of all, if series is not defined yet, I'm gonna define it so that I can use it later there. And for example, let's say series is already defined. I will return series.get if our series has already some posts for the series of the current article, it will just return them, otherwise an empty array. But string or undefined, because we're not guaranteed to have our series, so let's add a guard here. If not this one, if not post.series, what am I writing? Post.series, then just Yeah, I will just return an empty array. And now this no longer complains. But it doesn't work because our map is still empty. How can we generate this map? Well, I think Copilot will probably help us a lot because it's not really a complicated operation. Let me see if, well, I scroll through all posts. If the post I'm looking at has a series, it will try to get if our map already has some posts, otherwise an empty array. It will push to the array that it found and it will set back in our map using p.series as key and series as value. We now have this function find posts in series, and I think we can use it. This gives an error because I'm not using it. So what happens here is that I can get all the posts here in getStaticPath. I can pass them through the props here, and this lets me grab this field here from astro.props, and again I can render it there. Let's just have a quick look if it works. If post in series is greater than 0, then I will print series. But oh wait, I forgot to add it here. So post in series is again an array. And okay, this should already work, but I haven't defined any series yet. So like I said, I wanted to do that in the Copilot X series. So I can grab a couple articles. Let's say series is Copilot X, and this is one. Let me do that on another one. Copilot CLI, Copilot X, okay. Series here and series there. Okay, let's see if something changed. If I scroll down, oh, okay, series has been shown here, and I guess because I've got something actually to show. Let me see if it works. So I can wrap this actually in a div, and I can now iterate over my post in series. I don't want to use this one, but let's see. At first, let's see if it prints the title. If I get the title right here, then we're good to go. Okay, so these are the 3 articles where I added the series. And for example, if I open up another one, which doesn't have the series defined, as you can see here, nothing is shown. Well, that's correct. That's exactly what I want to do. Now, if you click here, you might want to go to the article. So let's give it a little bit more style. First of all, I want this to be clickable, so post.title will be wrapped inside a link, and this link will get the post link. How do I get it? Get permalink. This will be, well, I don't want to call it post because it might be confusing. Let's call it p, which is maybe even more confusing. P dot, what does this want? Okay, the slug and the type. So p dot slug, and the type is post, I guess. Okay, so this is the link. This is the closing tag. And now if I go back there, what is wrong? Post is p. If I click here, it will go on this article or this post, whatever. And looks like it's working. So let's add the numbers on the left. The numbers, do I want them to be clickable? Maybe not. So it will probably be a span with index plus 1. Index obviously comes from there. And I also want to, well, let me see if it works first of all. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it works. Let's also give it some style. So class, what does it suggest? Inline block. I always like to see what Copilot suggests, see what happens, and if it's terrible, well, maybe I can add some style by myself. For example, I want it to have a background, which it doesn't have now. And I also want to highlight, if we're currently looking at the current one, post.id equals to the global post.id, then the background will be not gray, but I'd rather say green 500 and the text white. What is here? And that's it. I edited the styles a little bit to make it more pleasant to look. And finally, here's the final result. You can see here that the green highlighted. You can see here the green badge that gets highlighted. It also slightly changes color when toggling from light to dark theme. And that's pretty much it and everything I wanted to do today. So I hope you liked it. Let me know in the comments if you also want to see me where I implement features like this thing here, that if there are many series it will start collapsed and it will expand when you click it. Thanks for watching this video and let me know if you liked it, and see you in the next one.